What you're about to experience are my opinions and truths. I'm suggesting these possibilities for you to consider, enabling you to come up with your own conclusions.
Thought I was doing something to appease the devil. I'm sorry for it, but I really don't want to talk about it anymore.
Appease the devil?
Well, I was, at this time, was serving him. I was serving him. I feel that he had taken over my mind and body, and I just surrendered to those very dark forces. I regret that with all my heart, but, that was like 40 years ago, and I understand that it was a demonic thing, and, I just opened myself up to some very dark forces to come in, and I can't, change that. I look at that in disbelief. I can't believe that happened. I look back, none of it makes any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. I was under strong delusions. That's what happens when you come under those powers. You're under strong delusions. You just don't, you look back and say, what the heck happened? That was just mental darkness. I was serving Satan.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, code breakers around the world. Another episode of Scripted Reality. This one is number 36. I'm going to be your host. My name is Logan. I'm a forensic decoder. And I welcome all of you out here. I appreciate that you're here. If you have not checked out the playlist on the YouTube channel, we have 35 scripted realities. This is one of the fan favorites, this whole series. And it just keeps getting tighter and tighter and tighter. They're all labeled in order. And you can find those, again, right on the playlists here. If you go to the Decode Your Reality YouTube channel, just go to that playlist right there and you'll find the scripted reality series right there. So if you're still on the fence on whether or not you think you have free will, if you think you have free will, I would ask you, how do you explain all of these layers that I'm about to show you? How do they come out this way? The forensics, because that's what we are. We're doing forensic decoding. We're looking at the trail left behind of the events that happen using letters, numbers, and symbols in mathematics and chemistry and the tarot and the cards, astrology. These are our tools for forensic decoding. And this topic here was originally called Thou Shall Not Kill. I actually did a presentation and the music was too loud in the background, so I removed it, but I'm glad I did. And it just led into this man right here. So this Scripted Reality 36 is on serial killers. Something I have a deep fascination with. Maybe you do too. And this one will be highlighting David Berkowitz. His birth name is Richard David Falco, but he went by David Berkowitz. So this is what this one will be on here. And again, as I go through these slides, I'm going to show you so much evidence that it will be hard for anybody to say that this isn't a scripted reality that we live in. So let's get into the first topic. Serial killer. And we just go right to the English. This is another technique. Excuse me. This is another technique that you can do. We're going to be highlighting this technique quite a bit. We've used it over the years, but this is becoming one of my favorite tools of forensic decoding. There are a total amount of, in the tarot, there are 78 total cards in the most popular spread. 78. So this is what we're going to be using as the bridge. And all you have to do is take the English language, which actually has Germanic roots, comes from Germany. Take that, you get an outcome, and you're just going to subtract. If you get above 78, you're just going to use the 78 as the bridge, as the foundation, and you're going to subtract until you get to 78 or below. We've been doing this with the cards for so many years now. We've done it with the calendar. We've done it with the alphabets. We're simply going to deduce down until we get to 78 or below, and we get the number 53. And the 53rd card is the Three of Swords. So serial killer ends up becoming the card that has a heart with three swords pierced through it. The original is this one. That's the original. Now, I know Rider Waite, Arthur Waite and company were not sitting down with English language and doing this like this. Well, they didn't have to, because we live in a scripted reality. And this Three of Swords, because I told you we'd be highlighting David Berkowitz. Well, David Berkowitz was born on June 1st, 1953. And that is the June 1st card. There's the birthday calendar. Just so you know, I'm not trying to get one past you. We're not doing magic here. We're not doing sleight of hand. I'm not trying to bedazzle you. I'm not trying to pull a rabbit out of a hat. No, we're doing forensics. So David Berkowitz, his birthday is the Three of Swords, the Three of Spades. Card number 53. He was a serial killer. And it's so fascinating because when I bring theology into this, using the Chaldean numerology, the infamous scripture that talks about death and hell, Revelation 6 verses 8, is 53. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death. And hell followed with him. I'm going to show you what all this means astrologically. But there it is. It doesn't get any more clear than that through this lens and through his birthday. So we also can look at this word right here and do the same methodology. Psychopath. I have an image of Richard Ramirez. I'm going to do a decode on him, the Night Stalker. Scripted as well. These killers are all living through destiny and fate. See, we should be grateful that you and I didn't get this kind of code. It ends horrifically. Psychopath has the same as serial killer, 131. The Three of Swords. So again, just a reminder, David Berkowitz, June 1st. Serial killer reduces down to that Three of Swords. He has the Three of Swords as his birth card. An American serial killer. Fate, man. This is destiny. This is a scripted reality that we're living in. He was a killer. The word kill is 44, just like the word Satan. Yeah, but remember, Satan is an agent of the Lord. Satan is an agent from Job chapter 1, verses 6. I have a topic on this at the tail end of this presentation. This guy was the 44 caliber killer. Kill. He was doing witchcraft. And you saw the video, he was under the guidance of Satan. What does that mean? Well, we follow this 44, and here's the gun that he used. The Bulldog 44. And then he lived on Pine Street. Here it is right here, right on the map. He lived on Pine Street. Matching kill and Satan. And then even the precinct that set up and was headquarters for Son of Sam, there's that 44 with the full English numerology. The 0 means infinite potential. So when we look at this, let's get this straight. This guy uses a 44 caliber Bulldog gun. He's known as the 44 caliber killer besides the Son of Sam. He lived on Pine Street, which is 44. That's where he got arrested. And where they set up shop for the police department, the 60th precinct, that has the 44 in it. You don't think we're living in a scripted reality? So here's when he got arrested. He got captured. And they brought him directly to the 60th precinct. And again, this is where the Son of Sam task force was located. So let's chase this 60 to show you again more layers of the scripted reality. Let's get into his birth certificate name. So this next topic is Falco. Because his birth certificate name is Richard David Falco. There it is. This is his adopted name, Berkowitz. Richard David Falco was 138. You know that song, We Are 138? We Are 138, the Misfits. Tied to the Phoenix event? Yeah, this guy was having a Phoenix event. Killings are Phoenix events, folks. That's my opinion. Well, 138, subtract those 78 total tarot cards, and we get the number 60. So let's back this up. He gets arrested, and they bring him directly to the 60th precinct where the Son of Sam task force was located, which has the numerology match of Kill and Satan, matching his street he lived on where he got arrested, Pine Street. And the 60th tarot card is the Ten of Swords, which is death. It's killing, kill, dead, done. Tied to the Ten of Spades, card 49. You're going to see that. So they set up the 60th precinct in Coney Island, the Son of Sam task force, and there's the 60th card, and his birth certificate name through the tarot, through this methodology, reduces down to the 60th card. Scripted reality, folks. David did not have a choice. Just like you and I don't have choices. Here is Revelation chapter 6, verses 8 in the Greek. From the original Greek. Apocalypsis. 138. 138. Already showed the 53. 138. So where does this death and where does this hell and all this following him around, how does that all fit into play? While we introduce the card system now. The fated, destined card system. And we look to see where his birth card is. I'm calling it the Earth card because that's what it is. And I'm going to highlight and showcase, because this is the big humdinger here, his Pluto card. This is his Pluto card. 2 of clubs. 2 of wands. And you're going to see how this right here ties right into it. And why he was referred to as the Son of Sam. Because of samarium. Wait a minute, chemistry has a play in this? Yeah, of course it does. Of course it does. So I'm going to show you how his Pluto card, right there, his 2 of clubs, 2 of wands, is tied to samarium, and we're going to do it right here through his astrological chart. We're going to embed it into the updated, most advanced, most precise human design system you can use. Getting away from the tropical, moving into true sidereal, and adding on the layer of chemistry. Each gate in human design is attached to each element. And there it is. David's Pluto was sitting in gate number 62, which is the gate of detail. And there sits Hades. There it sits. There's his 2 of wands card, 2 of clubs sitting right there. And now you can see, ladies and gentlemen, how scripted this reality truly is. Because I know they didn't have these tools back in the 1970s. The human design didn't come out till the 80s. I know they weren't sitting down with astrology mapping out their life so that David could become the Son of Sam based upon these layers, because these layers did not exist. Because these are the forensics. So now you can begin to see, ladies and gentlemen, with these tools, with these forensic decoding tools, we now have really the completeness of how all of this works. And there's so many other layers, and we're going to continue to talk about this as we continue moving forward. But how about this one? See, if you're still not convinced, June 1st, 1953 was the 152nd day of the year, which is the most abundant isotope of samarium. Yes. Samarium is the son of Sam, and it's tied to Pluto, which is Hades, which is death. This man did not have a choice. He was destined to live out this character and go to prison, and he's still serving time in prison. He's got life imprisonment. Didn't have a choice, ladies and gentlemen. So this is what it looks like. Kind of an overview of how our reality operates. This is what God means. God means generate, operate, destroy. See, David Berkowitz, Richard Falco was part of the destroy team. He was part of the generator. We're all three of these, by the way. You live through the God principle. You create, you operate, and you destroy in your life. When you quit a job, that's tied to plutonium. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it's all about combining and connecting. And this is not the first time we've shown this. And my final answer is Pluto, aka Hades from the Greek, is Shiva from the Vedic, the destroyer, which is fire. And the opposite is the generator, the water. Water gives life. Fire burns life. And that's Brahma, which is Poseidon, the generator. These are the three. Vishnu is Zeus, the operator of earth. Okay? That's how all this stuff looks. And this was something I wanted to throw in there. I didn't even know this. I was just looking up Shiva and I found this. In Judaism, did you know this? Shiva is about observing a person who has died. Look at what the numerology is of it. It's got the same numerology as the original word from the original idea through Judaism. Satan. Tied to Shiva. Makes sense, right? The agent of God. 44 kill. Use the 44 caliber gun. This is how scripted our reality is, ladies and gentlemen. So let's continue forward. Let's look at his life path. Now I'm observing his solar life path. June is the 4th month, not the 6th month. Why? Because March in the Tropic of Cancer is month number 1. March, April, May, June. That's month number 4. So I have it 4. 4 plus 1. Plus 19 plus 53. Gives us 77, which is exactly the addition of these two cards right here. 53 plus 24 is going to give you 77. And his Earth card is the 3 of Spades, which we know is tied to serial killer and psychopath. And his Pluto card is that 2 of Wands, found from the 2 of Clubs. From his life path. And these are the 2 big ones. The 2 big ones. Earth and Pluto. And just reminding you, ladies and gentlemen, that I don't know why I have this one in here again. I think I had a mistake. Well, not a mistake, but I don't know why I had this one in here. Anyway, let's continue on to the next topic. Kleinman, son of Sam. See, Kleinman, this is what happens when you dig. You go through the forensics and you dig, and this is what you find here. Berkowitz's biological father was Joseph Kleinman. So instead of Falco, because that was his stepfather, Kleinman is his biological last name. So Richard David Kleinman. That's the number 180, and you do the same rules. You deduce down 180, got to do it twice, and it gives you 20 freaking 4. And what's the 24th card in the tarot? His Pluto card. There is no escaping this code, folks. I don't see anything else. There's forensics that are left behind in your life, my life, his life, etc. So this is the most important name, your birth certificate name. Obviously, he has multiple names. But then we get into the son of Sam. This is what he went by. This is what was given to him. And that's a 102. And 102 minus 78, there's that 24 again. Going right back to his Pluto card. And his Pluto is located in the 62nd gate in human design with an upgrade, samarium, where his Pluto is at. So you wouldn't find this in the tropical-based human design system. It wouldn't be there. The accuracy of doing it through the true sidereal is where it's at. Strengthen this. So again, here is his birth card, his earth card, and his Pluto card. 2 of clubs. Samarium, the son of samarium, right here. The son of samarium. So we're going to go even further with this. So now that I know that he has his Hades in samarium, I'm going to take the samarium element and I'm going to marry it with Hades' element, which is plutonium, Pluto. We're going to marry the two together. And this is what it looks like. First step is we add them up. 244 and 152. I'm using the most abundant isotope of samarium. 396. Well, there is not an element on the periodic table that goes above 294. This is the last known element that we have available to us, listed on the periodic table. Well, the highest element is 294, the isotope. So I'm going to use that as the deducer. 396 minus 294 is 102, and there it is, again. Son of Sam. So now you're beginning to see who is Sam, samarium. Well, in this case, it's Hades. It's Pluto, the god of the underworld. Death, hell. And is Hades Satan? Well, again, in the Greek mythology, remember, Zeus, his brother, got the heavens. Poseidon got the earth, and Hades got the underworld. Through the mythologies. These are humdingers, folks. This is a scripted reality extraordinaire. You can do this with your charts to find clues. If you want to know how to do all of that, ladies and gentlemen, you go to the Spotlight website and get the course. This is one of the tools that we use. The evolution, doing it with precision. If you want to learn how to do that, folks, you can take the course. There's over 8 different modules. The most accurate, the most precise, the most advanced course there is on the internet today. I don't know any other system that's better than that one. Or bigger, I should say. And I shouldn't say better, but bigger, more in depth. So that's what you do here. You learn this kind of stuff. Let's keep going here. Hades, in the original Greek, is 33, which matches the word Sam. Because we're using the English. The son of Sam. He said he heard voices. Plutonium is Shiva. Shiva is tied to Hades, Pluto. Let's get into Berkowitz. This was his adopted last name, Jewish last name. So what does this name tell us here? He gets a 169. Using that same methodology, you get a 13. And the 13th card in the tarot is death. Death. How many more layers do I need to show you? We've done this now. How many scripted realities? We did it with the Jonestown scripted reality 33. We did OpenAI. We did it with Hotel California. I did it with Jeffrey Dahmer. All scripted. So this is where it gets interesting. And to support this again, here is the origination of it. Exodus 20 verses 13. One of the 10 commandments, thou shalt not kill. Well, there's the 81. Tied to the word ritual. Everything in life's a ritual. If you go to the gym, if you go to the grocery store, it's a ritual. It's acting something out. And what's so fascinating about this 81 from the original Hebrew is that it's tied to the gun, the son of Sam, and the guy who originated the gun, Douglas Sloan McClanahan. Douglas Sloan McClanahan is the one that created the Bulldog 44 gun that David Berkowitz used for his killings. This is the information I found on it right here. So it's legit. If you take 219, which is his birth certificate name, and subtract it to David's birth certificate name, you get a freaking 81. Thou shalt not kill. I'm just throwing this in for extra, folks, because this is just so easy now. The mathematics and the forensics is just so easy to do. And you can play around with this, but I'm just being guided to show you that was what came to mind. Here is the outcome of it in tarot. It's so crazy because 62 is tied to samarium. Exodus. 62 is tied to samarium. Right here, 62. The son of Sam. And Exodus is 62. The 62nd card in the tarot, the Knight of Swords, the Jack of Spades. Chapter 20, verse 13. It's got the freaking death card in the chapter and verse. The revolution of taking somebody out. See, judgment just means movement, graduation. I'll let you kind of interpret this. I know what it means. It's clear. Well, when you say it, Knight of Swords, judgment, and death, through the English, using the same methodology again, got to do the 78, subtract it 4 times, you get death. The death card. 13. How about that? Do you think this is a coincidence? Look at how, like, mastery this is, the narration, the storyboard. And this is samarium, Exodus. Let's get into the next topic now. Satan. Let's go to the origination of it. Here it is, Job chapter 1, verses 7. Again, Old Testament. This is where the sons of God, they come together. And then you have Yahweh saying to Satan, where'd you come from? And Satan, a.k.a. Hades, says, well, from going to and fro in the earth. In the earth. Walking up and down in it. Now, this is going to be debatable on the translation. But where is Hades? In the underworld, in the earth. And this is the Pluto card for Berkowitz. It's the man holding the world in his palm of his hands, going on an adventure, walking up and down. Now, if this is not in the earth, it's on the earth, whatever, there's Hades, walking up and down the earth, looking for something to do. And when you keep going here, this is where God tempts the Hades. This is where Zeus, I would imagine the yod being tied to Zeus, We've covered the Yod-Heh Vah-Heh being tied to Zeus. I think it's Zeus and Mars. But anyway, have you considered my servant Job? Like taunting. And then, of course, what does he let him do? All that he hath is in your power. Giving basically telling Hades, Shiva, if you like the Vedic, the Yod telling Shiva, saying, hey, everything he has, it's in your power. You do whatever you want. So what does he do? He takes out his family. Takes out all of his animals. Would you call that, would you say that's loving? And the point of this is, folks, is to prove to Hades that someone will remain faithful to you despite turmoil and killing, like murder and all that stuff. Now, I know this story's allegorical, but if it was real, let's say it was real hypothetically, would you consider would you consider the Lord to be loving? To allow Hades to take and kill your entire family? Right here, all that he hath is in your power. Giving him the power, and of course he slays the servants, the animals, takes his whole family out. Would you say that's loving? Anyway, I don't want to get sidetracked. But you see, David Berkowitz, well, he started with a knife. The knife attack. This. So let's talk about the span of crime. So now you know what the Satan character is tied to. In Vedic, it's Shiva. In the Roman, it's Pluto. In the Greek, it's Hades. That's what this story is telling us. Let me show you the span of crimes. Let's talk about the span of his crimes. This is what Wikipedia had. He started on December 24th, 1975. 1975, subtracted from his birthday, he was 22 when he started his span of crime. So I went to Solar Spread 22. I located his birth card. There it is. And I'm going to compare it against the master divine spread, the spirit spread. And what's sitting in that space? The 9 of Swords, which is the nightmare card. Look at the energy of these two cards. And I want to be clear, let me digress. If you have this as your birth card, it doesn't mean you're a killer. This is for the forensics. Well, when we look at his Pluto card, here's his Earth card. For 22, when he started his killing spree, his Pluto card is the 7 of Hearts, which is the 7 of Cups, which is the choices. The voices in his head. All of these choices, which are not choices, they're all destined. They're all fate. It's the divine looking through your eyes, deciding what it wants to do. And when you bring it together, when he started his crimes, being 22, here's his Earth card, there is his Pluto card. This is card 42, his birth card through the cards, and card number 7. What's 42 and 7? 49. And the 49 is the 10 of Spades, which is what? The 10 of Swords. Which is exactly what his birth certificate name reduces down to, the 60. Remember, he went to the 60th precinct where the Son of Sam task force was set up? The cops are not in on this conspiracy. There is no conspiracy here, folks. This is a scripted reality, man. This is when he got arrested. August 10th. They searched his car. He was 24. 24 is his Pluto card. Coincidence? Pluto gets arrested. Samarium, the son of Sam, gets arrested. So here's Solar Spread 24. Here's his birth card, his earth card. Sitting in space number 15. And what's sitting in the Master Spirit spread? His Pluto card. Yep. David's Pluto card is sitting in the divine spread. Again, what's running our reality? The Master Spirit spread. The divine spread. You could chalk it up to the Archon spread. You could chalk it up to anything you want. But there's his Hades card, Shiva. This is when he got arrested. Shiva gets arrested. The son of Sam gets arrested. All part of the script. So let's finish this up on why he killed. What is the reason why? Well, if you read with me here at the top, it says Berkowitz claimed his neighbor's dog was one of the reasons he killed. He said Sam was his former neighbor, Sam Carr, and that Carr's black Labrador was possessed by an ancient demon which issued irresistible commands that Berkowitz kill people. And I got a 3-headed dog here because that's exactly what Hades has. Dog. So you see, ladies and gentlemen, this enforces, this supports Hades being tied to Berkowitz. The dog. So here is what AI gave me after I went through and I wanted to condense it down. If you'll read with me, it says, David Berkowitz, the son of Sam killer, has repeatedly claimed over the years that a core part of his motivation was deep resentment toward his mother, especially his birth mother, and a lifelong inability to form stable, healthy relationships with women. So the context behind his statement is that Berkowitz was adopted. When he located his biological mother as an adult, he learned she had originally given him up because he was the child of an affair. That was with Mr. Kleinman. This discovery sent him into a severe psychological tailspin. He has described this as a catalyst for feelings of rejection, abandonment, and anger. So the resentment toward his mother is right here called, this word right here, misogyny. Probably butchered that. But he says that Berkowitz, he had internalized a lifelong belief that his mother abandoned him, lied to him, never wanted him, basically threw him away. So it left him emotionally disconnected from women in general. So psychologically, and this is where the Hades character comes in, right now he's so angry that he moves towards this. So despite him, I'm going to come back to this, despite him saying this story here, because this is part of the story. The 3-headed dog man, I made him Labradors because that's what it was. The dog was telling him, and an ancient demon, Hades, Shiva, the god of the underworld. But really, the origin was this. Misogyny? I don't know. I don't know why I can't pronounce that word. Anyway, don't be the word police on this. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, when you do that, same methodology. The 127 minus the 78 total tarot cards, you get 49, and the 49th tarot card is the Queen of Cups, the mother. The Queen of Cups is the mother of the tarot in the minor arcana. The Queen of Love, the loving mother. And remember, the 49, ladies and gentlemen, is tied to the 10 of spades through the cards. But let's take a look at this overall. Go back to his Solar Spread 22, when he started to kill, or when he started to create his crimes, I should say. I'm going to compare that to the Master Life Spread. So we start here on the right. Here is his card, the 3 of spades. Here is his Hades card, the 2 of clubs. These two right here. Then we come over to Solar Spread 22. That's because he started his crimes when he was 22. And look at the cards that are sitting in exactly the same spaces. the Nine of Swords, and what he killed for. This. Right here. The motive was because of these things here. This is trauma. And the trauma was what he killed for. There is the Queen of Cups tied right to his Hades card. Right to it. Right to his Shiva card, folks. So he became the killer based upon the anger, resentment, everything. When you go watch the full interview, and I'll leave that in the description, you'll see he mentions he blames it on Satan. That's because he found the church. Of course, the church told him, oh, it was Satan that did that. No, it was called trauma. It was your fate and destiny that did that. That's what made him do it. The voices in his head. Just like you have voices in your head, I have voices in my head. Be grateful that you didn't have this that he got. Just be grateful. Take a moment to express your gratitude. Because you may feel like, oh, my life sucks and all that. Well, it ain't as bad as sitting in a jail life imprisonment. So be grateful that you didn't get this. But this, ladies and gentlemen, is a humdinger of all humdingers. The loving mother that he did not have, the Queen of Cups. That's what the Queen of Cups is. Well, he became the killer. The Hades. The hatred. The nightmares took over in his mind. He couldn't get over it. So he moved towards this. That's what he did. And he searched out for over 2 years. I don't think he acted alone. Many people that study this, there were several Sons of Sams out there. There's tons of them out there right now. But ladies and gentlemen, Hades, aka Shiva, is part of the whole God process. It's the operating system that we live in. So that's what I got for all of you, ladies and gentlemen. Scripted Reality 36. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you still don't think this is valid, I'd love to hear why you don't think it's valid. And I can assure you, ladies and gentlemen, it's no Jesuit or Mason doing this. Not a chance. So stop blaming it on these organizations. These organizations are doing what they're supposed to be doing. Scripted Reality 36. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I got for today. My name is Logan for Decode Your Reality. Until next time, we will see you later.